you better act quickly because this Venus-Jupiter conjunction is going to act like a firework. Everyone is calling Venus and Jupiter in Cancer one of the most fortunate alignments of the year. They may be right, but when these two planets meet on the fixed star Procyon, the real story becomes a lot more complicated, and the sky may have other plans. Hi, I'm Erika Beach, a licensed clinician and a professional Hellenistic astrologer, and today we are covering the Venus-Jupiter conjunction at 25 degrees in the sign of Cancer, which is happening on June 9th. In this video, we will be covering an overview of the Venus-Jupiter conjunction in Cancer, the fixed star Procyon, and how to work with this conjunction in your chart. So hit the like button and subscribe, and let's get started. At first glance, this looks like one of the best transits of the year. Venus, the planet of beauty, love, art, and Jupiter, the planet of expansion, luck, and hope, in the watery, fertile sign of Cancer, sounds pretty awesome, and I'm sure that this transit will be positive. But history and symbolism suggests that too much of a good thing can become something else entirely. And this is just one way that Venus and Jupiter can express itself. Then add this conjunction occurring at 25 degrees on the fixed star Procyon. It changes the theme. Procyon is not soft, stable, and purely not benefic, but he's fast, brilliant, instinctive, ambitious, and often associated with rapid rise and sudden reversals. When working with fixed stars, especially a star like Procyon, it's useful to think less in terms of prediction and more in terms of storyline. First, let's quickly break down this Venus-Jupiter conjunction, and then we can bring in the fixed star Procyon. This beautiful Venus-Jupiter conjunction will occur on June 9th at 25 degrees and 46 minutes in the tropical sign of Cancer, ruled by a moon in Aries at 6 degrees and 18 minutes. Now, you will feel this effect starting on June 6th through June 11th as it approaches its 3-degree engagement range and separation. You will feel it the most if you have any personal planets in Cancer between 22 degrees and 28 degrees, or if you're a Cancer rising between 22 degrees and 28 degrees. This will also impact you if you are a cardinal rising sign, Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn, as well as if you have any planets in these cardinal signs between 22 degrees and 28 degrees, as this conjunction will fall under one of your angles if it's one of your rising signs. And you will feel this transit strongly if the moon, Jupiter, or Venus are your time lords, or the sign Cancer is your perfection house and the lord of the year, or the sign of the year. So look to see if you have any placements in this areas to see if you're going to feel the energy the strongest. And again, the strongest will be felt June 6th through the 11th. This conjunction is also ruled by a moon in Aries, so the emotional body and the environment, the moon, becomes filtered through the lens of Mars, while Venus and Jupiter are trying to create nourishment, connection, safety, emotional expansion in Cancer. An emotional rebirth through courageous emergence is going to happen. Instead of Cancer becoming purely nostalgic, protective, or inward, Aries gives urgency, emotional honesty, instincts, and heat, courage, independence, giving a more forward movement and warrior-like energy. The emotional field becomes active rather than receptive. The benefics gather emotional abundance in Cancer, but Mars initiates movement through the moon in Aries. Mars becomes the initiatory gateway through which emotional abundance must manifest, which is important to act when something shows up. Venus is the most illuminating planet in the sky, known as the Lesser Benefic. And in Greek myth, Venus is associated with Aphrodite. She represents beauty, desire, softness, and what we value. She also symbolizes the principle of love in all forms, friendship and accord, and also pleasure, grace, fertility, art, magnetism, social harmony, and what we value. In her playful side, she is entertainment, games, and indulgences and pleasures of all types. She is luxurious, loves to be pampered, affectionate, and sociable. Psychologically, Venus represents what the soul longs towards and the aesthetics of belonging, how we attract rather than conquer, emotional and sensual intelligence, and the principle of union. She is sought after and to be searched for. Now put Venus in Cancer in the temple of the moon, and she begins to unfold in Cancerian themes like family, emotional intelligence, caregiving, protection, belonging, heritage, legacy, memory, and nurturing. And you'll find Venus does not simply seek love here. She seeks feeling at home, familiarity, and comfort. She values emotional safety and attraction, trust before vulnerability, and genuine care before grand gestures. While Venus describes what we enjoy, appreciate, and attract, Cancer brings the instinct to nurture, protect, remember, and emotionally bond. Some of the positive expressions of Venus in Cancer is that she loves through acts of care. It remembers birthdays, saves meaningful mementos, checks in when someone is struggling, and she creates spaces where people feel welcomed and supported. Love is expressed through presence, loyalty, comfort, food, family traditions, shared memories, and emotional attentiveness. Some famous people with Venus in Cancer are Joshua Jackson, Steve Martin, Judy Garland, and the Olsen twins. Now we bring in the big, delicious Jupiter, who shows up as the Sky Father, lawgiver, protector of order, and the dispenser of meaning. In Greek myth, Jupiter is associated with Zeus, the god who expands the world through rulership, wisdom, prophecy, law, and vision. Jupiter's general significators are growth, faith, philosophy, religion, justice, wisdom, expansion, fortune, teaching, moral frameworks, and hope. Psychologically, Jupiter represents belief systems, trust in life, optimism, vision, ethical orientation, and the search for higher truth and meaning. Now we place Jupiter in the sign of his exaltation, a place where he feels even more comfortable, meaning its qualities of expansion, wisdom, generosity, and faith tend to flow naturally through Cancer's nurturing nature. This is where you can see archetypes of the emotional abundance, the protection, belonging, and growth through care. It believes that strength comes not only from achievement, but from having roots, a foundation, family, community, and a place to belong. Jupiter is the shelter during a storm, as Jupiter in Cancer offers protection, generosity, hospitality, and emotional encouragement. These are often the people who instinctively create opportunities for others, open doors, gather people together, and foster an environment where everyone feels included. The shadow side emerges when protection becomes overprotection. Jupiter's tendency to expand can magnify Cancer's instinct to shelter, creating emotional excess, attachment to the past, difficulty allowing others to take risks, and becoming independent. Some famous Jupiter in Cancer people are Taylor Swift, Adam Sandler, Salma Hayek, and Margot Robbie. Together, Venus and Jupiter create one of the strongest archetypes of emotional generosity in astrology, the impulse to nourish, protect, and help life grow. And together, they create celebrations. They bring abundance, generosity, creativity, fertility, social charisma, learning, and pleasure. They can also create excess, overindulgence, idealization, Hinduism, escapism, and spiritualized desire. Venus wants to experience beauty, and Jupiter wants to expand beauty into the worldview. This is why Venus and Jupiter combination people often produce artists, romantics, teachers of aesthetics or spirituality, diplomats, storytellers, priests and priestesses of beauty, and people who seek transcendence through love, art, or philosophy. When I think of Venus and Jupiter in Cancer, I think of a story that takes place in an old family home perched on a hill overlooking the sea. And the evening air is warm, the kitchen window is open, the smell of bread and herbs and salt water is drifting throughout the house. There's relatives that are filling every room and photographs line the walls. And there's a wooden table that stretches across the center of the home, covered with food prepared from recipes handed down through generations. And at the head of the table sits Venus. And she's really not interested in the wealth, but she's more interested that everyone is feeling welcomed, nourished, cherished, and comfortable. Across from her sits Jupiter. His presence fills the room. He laughs loudly, tells stories, and pours another glass of wine and insists that there's always room for one more person. The house seems larger because he is there. This is Venus and Jupiter in Cancer at their highest expression. The shadow version of this story happens in the same house. The doors remain closed. The family only speaks about the past. Old grievances are preserved like heirlooms. Everyone is fed, but nobody is free. This is the challenge of Venus and Jupiter in Cancer. The gift of protection can become overprotection. The gift of belonging can become exclusion. That blessing often arrives through the home, through family, through belonging, and also through ancestry and the bonds that make people and us feel protected and connected. Now, how does this going to express with the fixed star Procyon? Because this will shift the theme with this aspect. And Procyon, we know, sits at 26 degrees and 8 minutes in the constellation of Canis Minor, which is Orion's second hound. Bernadette Brady describes this star like a firework because it comes before the shining one, Sirius. And if you think about it, a firework spends most of its existence unseen. Then in a single explosive moment, it lights up the entire sky and something is illuminated. But you must act fast so you don't miss the beauty of the firework because the sky's brightest fireworks don't last forever. Fireworks rise quickly, they blaze brilliantly, and leave an unforgettable impression. Venus and Jupiter's conjunction may act in the same way, and perhaps something in your life may be preparing for its own moment of illumination. The symbolism of this conjunction is that of a sudden flash, rapid ascent, brilliant visibility, and the need to direct that energy wisely and quickly is important. Then overlay the energy of Procyon with Venus and Jupiter in Cancer, which gives it the firework feeling to whatever comes in for you. But yet, Venus and Jupiter have a shadow of overindulgence and going too far. And then again, Procyon is either going to act like a spark that changes your direction, or it will be a single explosive moment. So Venus and Jupiter on Procyon can enlarge themes around loyalty, emotional bonds, tribal attachments, protective love, fierce devotion, but also an emotional defensiveness. I think some of the events that we may see in the world could be new fashion trends or fashion statements or new types of art or music. And as of this recording, Taylor Swift has given us a teaser with Toy Story. And I think that something might come up with Taylor Swift and Toy Story, and she's also currently going through her Jupiter return. So take a note and let's see what comes up unexpectedly. I think some other things that we may even see are unexpected solutions to problems and revelations to particular situations that have to deal with the care of people, such as the immigrants and the immigrants in the detention centers, if you want to be specific. Jupiter in Cancer want emotional abundance. They want belonging, protection, nourishment, and heartfelt connection. And the moon in Aries projects urgency, instinct, and initiation. Then the fixed star adds speed and hunger and restlessness and the need to act immediately. With the moon being in a Mars-ruled sign in Aries, it's taking action. So how do we work with this energy? Pay attention to what has been repeatedly pulling at your heart. Notice what feels protective and where your emotions become animated. What relationships feel worth investing in and what dreams refuse to disappear. And what instincts keep returning. This is a time to trust emotional intelligence without becoming ruled by all of the reactions. Procyon teaches us that opportunities often arrive quickly and do not linger forever. The work is to move when the heart says yes, but to move from certainty rather than urgency alone. One thing I think it's important with this conjunction is that Venus and Jupiter are still Venus and Jupiter. Even when we add Cancer, Aries, and Procyon into the picture, we're still talking about the two traditional planets coming together. Historically, this combination has been associated with growth, generosity, opportunities, joy, celebration, fertility, artistic inspiration, and the feeling that life is opening rather than closing. This can be a period where people are feeling more supported, more connected, more cared for, and more willing to give and to receive love. Venus and Jupiter can help soften old hurts, create opportunities for forgiveness, for reconciliation, family healing, reconnecting with loved ones, and mending emotional distance. But also the strengthening of bonds of current friendships and love and partnerships, communities and emotional support systems, and of course, opportunities through relationships. And lastly, one of my favorites that you need to take advantage of is the creative inspiration that Venus brings. Venus rules beauty and Jupiter expands, and together they often produce artistic breakthroughs, creative confidence, storytelling, music, writing, visual arts, and content creation. Cancer adds the emotional depth. The best creative work under this transit is often coming from genuine feeling rather than performance. Now, especially if you are a Pisces rising, you need to take advantage of this transit because Cancer is falling in your 5th house of joy and creativity. And anyone with personal planets in Cancer, this will also be illuminating your chart as well. So taking advantage of whatever enters for you, or whether it's slight or drastic, is important. My overall opinion on this transit is that it's a positive one, but it's not what everyone thinks. Venus and Jupiter in Cancer are not chasing achievement, status, or conquest. Venus and Jupiter here are helping you look to what truly nourishes you, what feels like home, what deserves your care, your loyalty, and devotion. Venus and Jupiter in Cancer remind us that life's greatest abundance is not found in what we accumulate, but in what we cherish. With this aspect, there is an unmistakable call to action to whatever comes up for you. The opportunity is merely to recognize what matters, but also the opportunity to move toward it and to step into it. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you found this video useful, and I hope to see you in the next video. Until next time, bye-bye.